Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of TTS Today. I'm very excited to welcome into the TTS New York studios, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my TTS Today co-host and TTS co-worker, James Trunley. Hey James.
Hey Steve.
And you might be thinking, like this big screen TV, I did not use any green screen magic to get him here. He is live and in person. So welcome to New York, and we're going to talk about TTS order entry today. So let's get to it.
So today we're going to be going through the PDFs on total order entry, just giving you guys a breakdown of what's on them and how they work. So the first way that we can go through and actually create these is by coming over to the action column and clicking this little piece of paper with a check mark. When you hover over it, it says release. So if we open that up, it gives you a quick view of the releases. One thing to note is this first release, you'll notice, doesn't have these three buttons. That is going to be because it's a factory back order, so it won't let you create a warehouse release, packing slip, or shipper's copy. All you can create is the order copy and the release copy. You can create the order copy and release copy from either of these, but the warehouse, packing slip, and shipper's copy can only be created with these. So first, let's take a look at the order copy. Again, this will be the same regardless of if you click up here or down here. So if we open this up, you'll see it looks almost exactly like how your order will look when you're clicking into edit. Just it's a PDF, right? It's got your order number up here, the date, vendor, who ordered it, what the ship to address is, the order memo, the contact if you have one, freight terms, who's shipping it, the PO, the cross-reference number for the vendor, the agent number, who entered it, which warehouse, and if you have a vendor order, it'll show that as well.
A question that I always get, James, is these order memos and these trailing notes, for instance, and even the contact. Where are those entered in? A lot of people want to know how on the order where those are entered.
So if we head over to the order, we can close this and click into edit. And so the first thing you'll see is the contact name right under the customer PO number. So you see you got John here, and it'll show up right here on the PDF. The order memo is going to be right here. And if you come over to the order copy, see it'll show up here as well. And the trailing note, just like the name, will be trailing along the bottom of the PDF. And that's going to be right down here.
Okay.
So the only other thing on this PDF is going to be the total weight and total price, as well as all of the parts, the description, quantity, what's on back order, what's going to the factory, price, although you can create this without the price per, weight per, and any notes you have for the parts. One thing to notice is that this quantity shipped is going to stay as 0 until the release that the part is on has been verified. So yeah, it'll just stay in factory back order and not in the shipped column. And I think that's all I've got for the order copy, unless you have anything else.
No, you covered it well. So we can move on to release copies.
So next we can open up, we'll just take a quick look at the factory release, and we can also create the main release as well, just to compare them, show you guys what they'll look like. So first, this is the main release. See, it just says release copy warehouse main on the watermark. And if we open up the factory release, it says release copy warehouse main factory back order. So that's a pretty easy way to tell if the release is on you guys or if it's on the factory.
Also, the ship date, you'll notice does say factory back order. they missed the watermark. So that was the initial way of identifying the different releases.
So I'm gonna just go off of the main release, since you guys probably won't be looking at the factory backorder releases too closely. The major difference here is it's going to show you the total cartons and bundles, the shipping cost for this specific release, and it also shows the cartons and bundles for each product. Other than that, the main thing is that it just won't have the factory backorder. It's all that you're shipping on this release and nothing else. You got anything else for this?
Nope, doing well.
All right. So next we can take a look at the, what's this one? Shipper's copy? I can't read from here.
Shipper's copy, correct.
So we'll open this up. And so the shipper's copy, you'll notice that rather than showing the parts, it's just going to list your items by the freight category, and it's just going to give you the total cartons and bundles as well as the weight. We figure the shippers don't really care so much what individual parts are on their truck. They just want to know how much and how much it weighs. You'll see still got cartons and bundles, the total weight, tear weight, including the pallets and everything, anything that might be holding the items. And if there is a shipping cost, you'll also notice here that we have a signature line and date. And I think that is it. That is different from anything else.
Yeah, a couple of things I may add. This is also known as the bill of lading. Your send freight bill information that we add in the vendor section is showing up on here. And also I've noticed, important on here, class rate as well as freight category. A lot of people don't add freight categories to their parts, but this will, as James mentioned, this will show the trucking company what is actually in there, whatever these might mean. But class rate is kind of important, and these have to be built. Notice that this one is none. We actually probably typed in none, but it will be blank if nothing is added to it. So if it's something that's flammable, I doubt in our industries it would be flammable, but certain things, transformers, for instance, or anything that has batteries in it, whatever, the class will specify that. So that's kind of important to get in there, and we can show you how to add those if you need that information. So, okay.
All right, so up next we've got the packing slip. And so if you take a look at this, going to be kind of a cross between the shipper's copy and the release copy, right? It's going to give you those cartons and bundles, the product codes, description. It will also give you the quantity and weight. It's just going to be over here on the right. And not too much else. It's sort of like the release copy with a bit less information.
Yeah, one other thing to add, and I just noticed here, we probably had it on the other ones, the remarks. People that are used to the older system, we won't mention that name, but remarks are the same as line notes. So if you go back into the order real quick, each line does have an area to put in comments right here, remarks. So these will be line notes. So if you need something specific per item, you can add it to that section, and that shows up right here. And I believe it's in other copies as well. The release copy offers it.
Yeah, it should also be on the order copy as
and
well.
The order copy. So that's your line notes to go along with your order and your trailing notes. Actually, one other note that, where does that show up? I believe, did we get to that yet? Yeah, shipper note. That's another area that people ask about, like, how do I enter that? This is going to be specific to a customer. I can go directly to customer, and I'll just pick the first one listed here. And there you go. So that's your order shipping note. So this will be constant for every order for this particular customer. So, all right. Let's go back to our manage screen. I think, did we cover all the
think the last
PDFs.
one we have is the warehouse copy.
All right, so let's type this guy in here again. So it's 201.2. And the warehouse copy. I'll help you out with that.
All right, so if we get this open, this is probably the most important copy. Right, you guys are going to print this out as soon as you're done creating the order, send it down to the warehouse, and have them pick these items. So it's got all that header information, doesn't have as much of the shipping information, since this is mostly just to get these items picked. So it tells you the cartons and bundles, but it does also tell you the quantity. It will also show quantity shipped regardless of the verification status on this copy. That is a major difference between this and any of the other copies. They will show 0 is shipped until the release is verified. I think we already mentioned that, but always good to reiterate. This does also have the remarks section, so any notes that you have on the end of each product will show up here. And we've also got a signature line down here at the bottom, just like on the shipper's copy, just for when you guys have it all packed.
And also the bins. A lot of people have custom bin names, and that will be on this, which is the most important for your picking ticket, so the warehouse people will know where to locate that. All right. So this is one way of printing out PDFs. Thank you, James, for that synopsis of those. Next, we're going to go into a non-completed order, so you're going to see the bulk way of printing. So we've done one individual printing. If I get rid of this, for instance, and you want to print multiple orders without having to go through each one, I'm going to show you that on the next in the next portion of the video. Okay, so as promised, this next order I'm going to do a little bit differently. A lot of people do click on this checkbox here to select the order. I chose an order that's pending verification for a couple of reasons. You'll notice these boxes here. Now you can go through and check them all and then click create PDF, and it will create all these PDFs. But let me go through some of these. The warehouse releases, self-explanatory, order copy, packing slip, release copy, shipper's copy. We do offer the order copy with no price. Some reps want to use this as their picking ticket because it shows back orders. That's fine. That's why we have this no price on there. Bypass verification. What that does is, notice this is pending verification. A lot of people like to print the packing slip before they ship an order or before they verify an order. This will allow you to do that. So by checking that and clicking on all these, you will get 6 PDFs. If I uncheck this, what it's going to do, it's going to bypass the packing slip and the shipper's copy because the order hasn't really shipped yet. No reason to create a packing slip and shipper's copy if you haven't shipped the order yet. That's what verifying an order in our system does. Okay. Combined in one file. Some people like multiple PDFs to print out. Versus just one big PDF with all the files in it. I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm going to leave the bypass unchecked so you can see what happens. So if I don't check something here and I click create PDF, it's going to warn me, please select at least one order. That happens to me all the time, so I'm going to check that. Create PDF, and the system's going to generate all those PDFs into one copy. So I'm going to open that up. Now I use Chrome as my PDF reader, so that's what this page here is. So, by the way, just a quick tip, I didn't even know this existed. These little buttons here give you the index, so allows me to go through them quickly. So choosing the first one, I'm not going to go through all the details on here. James did an excellent job of explaining everything. But here's our order form. That's page 1. Page 2 is our order form with prices. Page 3, we're jumping right to the release copy. For the factory back order, by the way. So here's release 1. And number 4 is going to be our release 2 picking ticket for our warehouse release. Since it's not a verified order yet, we still get a picking ticket out of there. One thing I don't think we mentioned in the earlier videos is that's another way to look at your it does say factory back order. 9 times out of 10, I know James has seen this before, but sometimes you'll see the factory as release 3 or 4 if you make changes to that order. But 9 times out of 10, it's always going to be on release 1. Okay. And then release 2 is our picking ticket in this case. So notice we did not get our packing slip and shipper's copy. Basically, it's because of this pending verification. If you need to have that copy and want to do it this way, you can click on here, but you can also go in to the release and click your packing slips for that one as well. Let's do it here and show you that it does work. And there we go. Notice we have all the pages now, and we'll have our release copies as well as your release packing slip and your shipper's forms. So that is the bulk way. So like I said earlier, if we had multiple orders that we wanted to print, and a lot of people will do this, is you can click multiple copies. It doesn't matter the vendor. Click multiple vendors and choose which copies we need for them and just click create PDF. That will batch print all these into one PDF. Just to show you that this does work, and that's how it's set up, so you don't have to go individually. A lot of people want to, print at the end of the day or before lunch, whatever, and that's how you would do that. So, and that is really the PDF printing through the order manage screen in the tow. Any comments on going through that way?
So one thing with the batch printing to be aware of is when it prints out, the copies are going to go in alphabetical order and not necessarily in order or order number order. So you'll notice it'll give you all of the order copies first, and then after that it'll start giving you, oh man, we got a bunch of orders. Then it'll get to the releases, and then it'll get to the packing slips, and as you go down, shipper copies and warehouse release. So that is just something to be aware of, so you're not just taking, the first 5 pieces of paper and putting them all together and saying, okay, this is one order, because then it's actually 5 orders, and you've got all your paperwork in different areas.
Good point. Yeah, so as you see when I check these, it's not in order as the best way we could think of saying it. It's going to do all the copies first, so all the releases, all the orders, all the packing slips. So you do have to go through. So if you physically printed it out, you'll have to sort that information. So, all right. So that's a simple way of getting these PDFs out in 2 different ways. Hopefully that helped you out. And that's going to conclude this episode of TTS Today. And again, I want to thank James for taking the time to come over to visit me, and we figured this was a great opportunity to get together and put out a video. So, and like always, we ask for ideas, suggestions, any frequently asked questions, anything you have that you want us to share as a video. We have a lot of fun doing these videos, and I think a lot of people benefit from them. They can watch them over and over again. So send your requests to James.
Ask TTS Today at TradeTechSolutions.com.
And we'll both see you in the next one. So long. Goodbye.